All right, here we are back at it. This is an experiment, episode 14. Today is Friday, August 20th, 9:59 p.m. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Wow, what a weird week it's been. I don't know if it's been weird as shit, honestly. I started the week off really freaking great. And then the pest control guy came and sprayed for bugs like midweek. I think it was Wednesday. And I started getting like high off the pesticides that they sprayed with. And they say it's safe and that it can't harm you and all of that stuff. But my body was telling me otherwise. So I don't know. And I ended up not really being able to do much of anything that day because I literally I wasn't functioning, and like I had to get out of the house because it felt like my nervous system was shutting down, and I was also like, is this really the problem, um, or am I subconsciously using this bug spray as a scapegoat for you know not being in the house and like basically hallucinating the pesticides used in the house as a detriment or something that is I can't be in here because it's making me feel gross and sick and disgusting and I might die. So I have to leave. Was my subconscious just using that against me to not do all of the work that I had to do, and just completely derail me? Which is it? Is it real or is it imagined? And without getting into the meta, well, everything is technically imagined outside of your own consciousness. But at any rate, totally threw my week off and all the things that I was meant to get done and all these things. So it's been not ideal. But yeah, not ideal. But I'm getting back into it. It's Friday night, and I decided to sit down and do work. So there's that. Um, I'm kind of in this place mentally where I'm easing back into my own vision. I don't even remember what I talked about the last time I did a brain dump. But doing my book, I had a coaching session with my friend slash client, Leon, and the first session I did with him was in a hot tub on the roof of a Nashville high rise. And man, and when I think about it, that's how I want my coaching to be. Is this kind of the first time that when we actually start, when I start coaching with the client, a part of it is it starts with a vacation. You get a vacation. The first part of our coaching engagement uh, is a vacation. I'm gonna fly you down to Nashville. You're gonna stay in a 5-star hotel. We're gonna eat some good meals together. We're gonna do some activities together. I'm gonna get to know you really well, and I'm gonna draw out the big vision, um, of who you are and where you want to be. The big vision that you might not want to admit to yourself. That's how I see it, and that excites me. Um, Very deep, very targeted, very narrow. Very narrow. Building out an e-course and selling it to a shit ton of people. Maybe it's easy money. I don't want easy money. I don't like, it's not about the money for me or getting as much money as fast as possible. It's about making such a deep impact that the ripple of it carries so far beyond anything that I could possibly imagine. That's it. The breakthrough that I delivered to Leond, that he's going to take him a lot of places. It was like he was seeing stars by the end of it, and that's where I want my people. Seeing stars. There's a yawning thing again. At this point, I'm convinced that that yawning is what happens to stop me from talking about the big dreams, the bigger things, the bigger visions. Here's the thing. This is kind of what I've realized in my time in this space, is that people will have big visions that are very broad. It's big, huge vision that's like, but it's like, that's a lot. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like, it's like there's two different ways of approaching it. Having a vision big enough that drives you to make the money to create it, or having a vision big enough that living into it causes the money to create itself. Inside out. You know, I remember the first time I heard about this concept from Rich Litvin, with, you know, goals and dreams being a place to come from. Not again, that yawning thing. Goals and visions not being a place to come from, or not being a place to get to, but a place to come from. You know, the impossible goal. I ironed out my impossible goal this week. My impossible goal is to have 7 figures cash collected by October of 2023 without running ads or having a sales team, and running strictly by word of mouth and referral alone. That's impossible. But it gives me something to come from. It touches on, you know, a few different things. It identifies the stuff that I don't want to do. It identifies the fees that I want to charge. And it identifies the principles of which I want to operate my business. And honestly, if I break it down, it's not that hard. It's not that bad. 7 figures across 2 years. Well, that means, so half of the 7 figures, half of $1,000,000 is $500,000. Half of $500,000 is $250,000. $250,000 divided by 10 is 25,000. So, what do I have to do? What do I have to do to make $1,000,000 in the next 2 years? All I have to do is enroll 40 clients at $25,000 each. That's it. So let's break it down. What do I have to do to make that happen? Well, 40 clients at $25,000 means 20 clients a year. That means 10 clients every 6 months. So that is like 1.8 clients a month, right? If I can enroll 2 clients, so, but we don't even have to break it down like that because it's a momentum thing. You know, the first client that's able to pay 25,000, they know other people that can pay 25,000. Yep. There's plenty of ways to do this. You know, as I talk about this, I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget. I need to create my money game spreadsheet. And in this, what do I need to add? I need to keep track of the people that I have conversations with. Right? What are the relationships that I'm starting to build? How many people am I talking to? How many people am I inviting to conversations? How many people am I turning into clients? How many people am I making a proposal to? And then ultimately, how many of them end up in coaching engagements? I'm not even, I'm not going to use the word program. No programs. To your program, you can call it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with it, but a coaching engagement, a coaching agreement, right? What are the agreements I'm going to make? You know, as I think back and I put this in context, you know, I think about when I overcame my victim mentality around mental illness. What I did is I took everything about myself that felt like a victim and I changed it. I changed everything about myself that felt like a victim because once I changed everything about myself that made me feel like a victim, I wasn't a victim anymore, right? It's basically how it works. So when I think about this, you know, in my coaching journey, in my career, I think about all of this. I and I think about the marketplace and what all of that looks like. So how do I take every aspect of the coaching and marketing space in game and do it differently? Identify all the aspects and do them differently. That's how you stand out. That's true. My hair's a mess right now. I will say also, let's see, so we're on episode 14, I think. No views. Still cool with that. Um, ooh, interesting. So, as I said that, I said no views still. There's a thought that passed through my mind, and it was, and I kind of hope there never are. And I felt like this heaviness wash over me. Um, so there's something to that, right? So what I ask myself is what caused, what do I when I think about that moment, when I think about that moment of saying I hope nobody stumbles across this, and I think about that thought and my body having a feeling of heaviness wash over it. When I think about that moment, what comes to mind? Loss. Loss. First, the best word, the first word that comes to mind is loss. Not lost with a T, like LOSS, like losing, like loss. Loss of what? It's almost like it's almost like a sadness that whatever ends up coming of all of these videos being dumped on YouTube, within its greater context, there's going to be nuggets of gold that come out along the process, and a sort of thing where if you watch the progression of me over time as I do this channel, um, there's going to be good lessons, and it's almost I feel I guess the heaviness that comes with this and that loss is like I do all of this and it turns out to become this thing that is so much bigger than I am, and then I never give it to anybody. Is that selfish? Maybe, maybe not. Do I want people to find this? Do I actually want people to see this? Hmm. I felt a lightness just there. I think there's a part of me that does want people to see this. Not right away, but after enough time that the purpose can be identified, right? This idea didn't come from nowhere. Like, this wasn't an idea that was created. It was something that popped up in the recesses of my brain. It was just it was this what if. What if I do this? What would happen? This is an experiment. Let's find out. It was never about me. Or was it? Right? Is that where that came from? Is the was this my way of creating an open, honest YouTube channel without fear? I think about that. It's a whole lot easier to create a vlog when you know that nobody's watching. Oof. Ugh. Ouch. Ouch. Wow. Oh, kind of hurt. You know, because I thought about it for a long time. I was like, I want to start a YouTube channel. I want to do something. I want to make money on YouTube. I want to become an influencer. I want to do all this stuff. And then I kind of stopped caring about that as much. It became less about, I don't know. Yeah, I did. I kind of just like stopped caring about it. And I've still been in this place like, yeah, I want to start a YouTube channel that can make a difference in people's lives. And, you know, and feeling like I have to teach information or give lessons because me just talking isn't enough. Or the idea of me just talking isn't enough. Maybe it is. I don't know. Here's the thing, like, I'm a deep thinker. It's just true. I am just a deep thinker. And some of the things that I think to myself about, which maybe, for me, some of it can seem relatively surface level for the way that I think, and for other people, it's like, dude. But I mean, look, I just coached myself from. Here's what I coached myself through. You can be your own coach. I did it. It takes a little bit more time and practice than just hiring a pro to do it for you. But the more you practice, the easier it gets. If there's anything I've learned about being your own coach, that's it. If you have the right tools, you have the right training, you have the right strategy, you can coach yourself through quite a lot of shit if you do it right. I've been doing this for years. And so I anchor in and I have this moment of, as I say something, this heaviness passes in my body, and I say, okay, wait, what was that? Something changed, right? Something started. I started feeling a heaviness. Okay, what happened when I started feeling that heaviness? Well, I said, I hope nobody sees that. And it was just like this, oh. Something inside of me went, hold on. Nope, we're not going to let that fly. Something about my body said you need to pay attention to this. So I was like, okay, what is it? And the place that I ended up at was the thought of, you know, I hope nobody sees this, and ending in a place of, but I kind of hope somebody does. Because it would be a shame for all of this, whatever it ends up being, to go to waste. So maybe it will catch at some point. And if it does, what's life look like after that? I don't know. I imagine I'll probably shut down a little bit. I'll be like, holy fuck, I've been found. You know? Be like, oh, I can't. Can I be as honest? Can I be as open? Here's the leadership paradox. I don't even know if I call it a paradox, but it's like you can be vulnerable about your past because it shows how much you've grown. It gives you context. But when you're vulnerable about your uncertainty in the present, it's almost like people I don't want to stop trusting you. It's like, I don't know. You don't have much certainty around what's going on in your world. I don't know if I can trust you. You know, leaders can't do that. Because if they do, people start questioning. And the point of a leader is to remove doubt. And maybe that's my place. I don't know. What if that's a gap that I can bridge? Or maybe that's I don't know. The vision that I have going through my mind is this, like, being in front of a group of people and being able to say, I'm scared as shit. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't promise you anything. But I'm here for it. And I'm here to take you through it. It's almost like this. Not leadership as a role model. I don't know. It's kind of like I haven't really quite put this into any sort of words or anything like that or context, and it's really just kind of coming out for the first time now. You know, as I always say, speak your thoughts because it starts to create clarity around them. And then when you have clarity around your thoughts go through the language center in your brain, and you see the truth of how you think about your thoughts, right? They all swirl and bounce off of each other. So let me take the average. What does that actually look like? Do I want to be a leader? Is another question. I mean, I'm inherently a leader. I don't think I could not be a leader if I like wanted to. Like, here's the thing. Leadership isn't look at me fucking talking about leadership. I don't remember the last time I really talked about leadership, and now here I am deflecting from actually talking about leadership. So if you rewind that and you look at what happened, what you will see is I went from talking about leadership to questioning myself. Who am I to start talking about leadership? That's the shift that you will see, and there will be a point if you rewind that. Anybody that's watching, what you'll see is I was stepping into my leadership. I was like, let me tell you about what it means to be a leader. And then I stopped. I stopped and I started saying, look at me talking about leadership. Like, who the fuck am I to talk about it? Imposter syndrome, self-sabotage. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. So what does it mean to be a leader? Well, it's not about holding a position. You know, when you think about leaders, you know, we think about presidents, senators, just, politicians in general, business executives, managers, celebrities, philosophers. They're at the forefront. Leaders are the ones that are at the front of the pack. they're at the front of the pack, right? Generally. I question now. I had this flash of an image, like, ancient times, and how the you know general or whatever, they led the soldiers into battle. They weren't. That's at least what I'd always. I mean, outside of like uh, English war and stuff like that, but like in battle, there was the leader that led the charge. And what I can't help but think about, these people knew that like going into battle, they knew that they were going to die. The leader knew that was he might die. What I think is so interesting is that if there's you look at some of these dynasties or whatever over time, there were the leaders that they never died somehow. That's how they became the leader. They were the one that nobody could fucking stop. Nobody could kill this guy in battle. That's how he became the leader on the battlefield. Nobody could stop him. Nobody could kill him. Nobody could take him down. He knew exactly what to do, exactly when to do it. When to charge, when to retreat, when to attack, when to, hold back. Strategy. I don't know. The leaders were of the people. Y'all are probably going to die in this battle. I'm probably going to die in this battle. A lot of people are going to die in this battle. Probably going to get hurt, injured, um, you know, probably dead. But we're doing this for a greater purpose. We're doing it for greater meaning. We're doing it for all this stuff. And at some point, I think some of that has changed a little bit. Bringing this back to how I was thinking about this, and that the leader is expected to be the strong face of whatever. But a part of me feels like, I don't know where this is coming from, but leaders leaders of the days of old, they weren't the ones. I don't know. I don't even know if I know about enough about history technically to say any of that. I get this feeling that the fearless leader wasn't afraid of anything, including being more vulnerable than the people that he was leading, or she. We do not discriminate based on gender on this channel. Little comic relief for you, any of you imaginary people in the future that watch this. Is that what true leadership is? I mean, being if there's, and I think there are different kinds of leaders, right? There's no such thing as, I mean, there's different types of leaders. Best ones are servant leaders. How do I serve you as a leader? How can I serve you best now? What can I do for you? I just had this flash. Um, oh, I was thinking about conscience and guides, spiritual guides, whatever that means. Technically, not everybody's got their own kind of like definition. You've got your spiritual guides. Um, and I started thinking, I had this like this flash that this idea that one of these times that I thought that I should have died in the past, this is going to sound absolutely crazy. I realize that. And I'm not saying that I believe that this is true, but it's just this really interesting thought that passed through me. A thought of imagination, we'll call it. An imaginary idea, right? Nothing that's based on any truth, fact, or evidence. It's just an imaginary idea that came to my mind. This is how great movies are made, right? This idea that, at one of these points in my life when I probably should have died and didn't, that like a fragment of my spirit, no, not even, no, like the entire spirit that occupied that body at that point in time, um d- like moved on, and a different spirit took over at that point. um but it's still me. But the spirit that took over is a spirit guide for other people. Or maybe that's what I've always been, is a spirit guide, and I had to find my people that I'm supposed to guide spiritually on this plane as a human. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what I guess we look at religious figures, priests, rabbis, clerics, you know, spiritual leaders of the world. What are they? They're spirit guides. Am I a spirit guide? I don't know. Like I said, it was just a random flash of a thing that came into my mind. I digress. Leadership. Can you be, maybe this is an experiment I can run. Wow. Maybe this is an experiment I can run. Is it possible, excuse me, is it possible to be a powerful leader while also being more vulnerable than the people you serve? Is it possible to be a powerful leader and also be more vulnerable than the people that you lead? Because I can almost see that taking on an interesting turn where it's like, it's almost like, look, if my life can be this messy, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, we can all try to imagine that future life where nothing is messy, but that's never going to happen, right? Human lives will always be messy in some capacity. Um, it's an inherent part of human nature. Is things are going to get messy sometimes. You can make them less messy and pretty organized so that it doesn't get very messy at all. But at some point, it's going to get a little messy. Um, So I guess, the point now as I think about this, so this is more of a question. Is it possible to be a powerful leader while also living a messy life? I mean, I was going to say, look at some politicians. Lives were a mess, but they were really good leaders in some regard. JFK, didn't he have a fucking affair? Like, am I making that up? I don't know. He was a great leader. Um, Such a great leader, in fact, that he was one of the few American presidents that actually got assassinated. He was that good of a leader. Yeah, he was such a good leader, he got killed. Can you imagine that? But I digress. The point is, being a messy leader. So then that introduces the question of, so what example are you setting for your people? To live a messy life? Mm. I think I need to start studying about leadership. I understand persuasion. I do. I understand persuasion. I understand the mind. I understand the body, the soul. I know all of that. But what does it mean to be a leader? Hmm. You know, I never thought that's something that I could study. It seems so silly now to be like, that would, what would be a really good idea? To study leadership. You want to lead people? Start reading books about leadership or podcasts about leadership. What does it mean to lead people? If you want to be a leader, you should probably know a thing or two about leadership. Maybe it's because I don't want to be a leader. Do I? What do I want? Greater question, bigger questions. This is coaching. This is what coaching looks like. This is me coaching myself through all my problems or roadblocks, bumps, blind spots. It's time to step into my leadership. Oof. I know how to coach. I'm a great coach. I'm such a good coach. I can coach myself. I don't, it is. I can identify my blind spots, my mental blocks. Sometimes it takes a while. That's the other thing. Look, the deeper it is, the longer it takes to find it. It's just a inevitable part of the process. Okay, and you can shortcut some of that by having someone else do it for you. It's absolutely true. If I had someone doing this for me, I don't know. I do a pretty good job of doing it myself. But what I want is to help someone to help draw out that greater vision. I need someone to do for me what I do for other people. Okay, you know what? No, I'm calling bullshit on this. I'm calling bullshit on this. This is a challenge. Uh, this is I'm calling bullshit on myself, and this is my new challenge. It is because I know how to draw the big huge vision out of another person. I can do that. I can pull it out. Give me enough time. I can make that happen. And I just said I can't do that to myself. Boop. Limiting belief. Bro, you got a limiting belief. You got a limiting belief, dude, that you can't draw out your own bigger vision. That's a problem. If it's a problem that I have, that means it's a problem that other people have. How do I draw out my bigger vision? How do I draw out my bigger vision? That is the bigger question. How do I draw my bigger vision out of myself? And then how do I teach other people to do that? I've got an impossible goal. Because as I talk about this, what I think about is how people create people are limited by their own experience, right? People are limited people's thinking are limited by their own experience. Like the mind doesn't the mind can't identify that which it doesn't know exists. I'm going to write this down. That's actually the mind. You should probably write this down too. Put it on a post-it note, stick it on your wall. The mind doesn't the mind can't identify. It can't. The mind can't identify that which it doesn't know exists. So it's like you don't know what snow is until you experience snow, or until you see a picture of snow, or until you even hear the word snow, right? We can't identify anything. We also can't identify anything that we don't have words for. Our sense of perception is limited to the words that we have for things. If we don't have a word for it, then we can't identify it. Once we have a word for it, we're like, oh, I know exactly what that is. Right? Black cell phone with a cutout and two cameras with a bezel and glass and a little light bulb that flicks on when you press the button to take a picture. Like, we have words to describe all of that. But if we don't have a word to describe it, then we don't know what it is and we can't identify it. For example, gaslighting, right? Classic manipulation tactic. You don't know what gaslighting is until you know what gaslighting is. And then when you find out what gaslighting is, like, oh shit, that's what my ex was doing to me 8 years ago. But if you don't know what it is, then you can't identify that it's happening or that you're experiencing it, right? There's this, I have to go look it up because I've seen a bunch of thought leaders, experts however you want to identify, um, use this reference, and it's about this tribe somewhere, some indigenous tribe, and they have like I'm making numbers up at this point, but they have like 22 shades for green or something like that, and they have words for all 22 shades, um, and from various types of bluish greens and all of that, and so they what is it they show them like the block, or they show a circle with all these different shades of green, and then they take one shade of green and they put it in a second one, um, and the eyes weren't able to perceive it as different, something like that. I have to go look this up now because I'm really curious. I got to get that story down so I can tell people that, like, accurately. Here's the thing, look, um, this is also how you learn. One of the best ways to learn. I don't know where I learned. I don't know who I learned this from. I read it in a book somewhere. I read it in a book somewhere. I feel like that's pretty good. If you can say you read something in a book, that gives it a fair amount of credibility. That's really funny. Think about it. If someone asks you, "Oh, where'd you hear that?" "Oh, I read it in a book somewhere." Like, "Oh, okay." Oh, I saw it on an internet article. Pfft, okay, you cannot trust that, but you can trust a book totally, which is it's not true. It's not true. As I think about it, you could almost write a book that's a complete lie and sell it, and people would embrace it as like true because it's a book. I'm curious. Maybe that's something that could be fun to explore. I digress. Um, what did I read? Well, okay. So first, I'm tracking back. You got the tribe in somewhere and color scheme thing. If I can't Google indigenous tribe color scheme thing, and I can't find that story, Google is failing me. Should be able to find it from that. The other one, what was the other one I was thinking of? Tracing my mind back, but it's not there. I've been talking about a lot of stuff for the last 53 minutes. Wow. If you're in the future still watching this, I I don't know why, but thank you. I don't know why you're watching this, but thank you for getting this far. Um, who knows what's gonna happen with this? Like I just walked myself through a whole bunch of insights, clarity. If you talk to yourself, you might learn a thing or two. It's true. It's true. I posted the other day. I mean, what was a post that the truth about lashing out is it gives you clarity of exactly what you're up against in its entirety. Uh, what did I follow that with? In all of its ingloriousness, in all of its messiness, in all of its you-ness, it shows you exactly what you're up against. And you can try to ignore that, um, or you can use it to your advantage. You know all of the things. Let me get a clear picture of who I'm up against. And when I say who, I mean myself. I digress. So far back to this idea of people building their vision based off um, other people's bigger visions for life or whatever. Um, because you know what I said is people are limited. I'm gonna just trace this back on so how how I deviated from this and now how I'm getting back. Um, Imaginary listener, if you ever watch this in the future, it's gonna just be an ongoing joke. Um, Make a T-shirt for it. Well, I'm never gonna watch this again, so I guess if somebody makes a T-shirt for whatever it is that I just said, that would be great to put on a T-shirt. A running joke. I don't know why. You know what? Doesn't matter. I was talking about how people can only identify that which they have words for. And then I was talking about that story of the indigenous people. And then I got sidetracked. So let's get back to the point of people realizing their bigger vision. Okay, because this is the challenge that I'm trying to work out. I'm gonna pull this all back. Is about leadership, and not just that, but leading people into an ability to create and draw out their own bigger visions. Because I do this for other people with ease, not for myself, not so much for myself. So that means other people have the problem too. So I have an opportunity to figure out how to draw out an accurate representation of my greater picture. Look, I'm like full circle. I want to bring it back to this main point. uh, the point of people building their vision for the greater future off the experience of others because they don't know it exists yet, right? You don't know how much a private jet costs to buy until you Google how much is a Gulfstream. You have no idea. Now I can tell you a brand new Gulfstream, or at least based on when I looked at it, I think it was something like 53 or 54 million dollars. And I'm like, the idea like that just like my brain can't comprehend it. My brain doesn't know what it's like to have $53 million in the bank or in assets or whatever. Brain doesn't know what it's like to have $53 million. Because I would imagine to buy a $53 million private jet, you'd have to be making significantly more money than $53 million. Because, look, if you make $35,000 a year, it's going to be really hard to finance a $55,000 vehicle unless you have a massive down payment, right? So I wouldn't be able to lease a 53 54 million dollar private jet. Like, no. Same thing happens. Like, you have to have at least $53 million in assets, I would imagine. But I don't know because, again, limited by my own experience. Case in point, I have no idea what it takes to lease, finance, or buy. I mean, I don't know. Do those people just have so much fucking money that they can drop $54 million on a jet just like bam? It's like, you know what? I want to buy a private jet. Bam, here's $54 million. I don't know. Do you lease? Do you finance? Do you just buy those things outright? I have a hard time thinking that someone would just drop 53, $54 million on a private jet, like cash out of pocket. But I mean, I guess, I don't know. That's the $1 billion game, I suppose. But if you're a billionaire, you probably already have a private jet. That's funny. So yeah, here's the thing: is that you don't even think about what your life would look like if you had a private jet because you have no frame of reference. And so if the and see that's a vision for a thing. This is where it gets tricky. It's nice to be like, yeah, I would love to have a private jet. Yeah, I'd love to have a big ass fucking yacht. Why? I don't fucking know. If I really think about it, do I want a, $5 million yacht or $100 million yacht or what? I guess it'd be cool, but why? And then but the people that have that stuff, they can't imagine what life would be like without. Interesting. Interesting. Well, that's why so many people they say, find someone that lives the life that you want to live and then model it after them because you have no frame of reference. But, as Stephen Covey says, the the problem with I'd have to double check the exact wording on this, but the problem with climbing the ladder of success is that you can get to the top and realize that it was leaning against the wrong wall. I love it because it's so true. And so when I talk about people building their greater vision based off someone else's, it's like it leaves their vision out of it because it's someone else's vision. And you think all of that is great, but without knowing if it's actually anchored and aligned with what matters most. What is my bigger vision? I'm going to start drawing it out. If I can do it, someone else can. Like, that's the theme of my life. If I can get past this fucking shit, anybody can do it. My mental illness. I mean, there is a biological component of that I have yet to crack. I know that I can eventually. There's still some work to be done around completely eradicating my mental illness. It is under control and pretty well managed. There are some times where it gets a little hairy and I have to be extra cautious, and I still slip a little bit, but not enough where I land myself in a bad spot. So there's that. Everything's pretty much under control and all good, but I know that there's certain things that I cannot do, or that I have to do and that I can't do in order to make sure it stays that way. One of it involves a nutritional supplement for cognitive function. I mean, it's true though. Like, our food doesn't have enough brain-friendly nutrients in it unless you specifically eat for it, which is important. Oh, I haven't had any fish in a while. I should probably eat some fish. It's got omega-3s. It's good for you. This is stuff that I think about. Checking in with everything. So yeah, I guess it's time to learn about leadership. Figure out how to draw my own bigger vision out of myself. And then teach other people how to do that as well. That's worth a lot. That's a big problem that's worth a lot. I help people draw out their bigger vision for life. Oof. Oh. Aligned vision. Whoo! Sorry. Okay, I got to dig into this real quick. Um, Aligned vision offer. You heard it here first. Today is Friday, August 20th, 11:05 p.m. This is an experiment, episode 14, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out, bitches. Stop.